she's your aunt. Your,
Yes,
yes.
she's the sister of my grandfather.
Sister
No.
of your
Of my grandfather.
grandfather. Okay. It's confusing.
Yes.
Her father is my nephew.
Okay, that's
The
it.
girl's father is my nephew.
Okay.
Is that?
After first generations, I get lost.
Okay. Eleonore Meinl, meine Großtante in Amerika, hat ihren 95. Geburtstag. 1928 ist sie mit knapp 18 Jahren nach New York ausgewandert.
One card left. Oh!
A joker.
Okay. Well, you didn't have much. What's that? Was that 10 and 15?
Yeah.
You sure they're not here?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm running in and out of your shot here. I'm looking for.
Anybody? May I?
I'm not interested.
Oh, I got what I like. Okay, folks, this is it.
Did you mix those cards right?
You want a 6?
Yeah, I like that card.
She must be smart, that Heidi.
A joker.
I'm
That's
too-
my
I'm
turn.
honest, that's
That's
yours.
gonna be my
That's
turn.
yours. That's yours.
Card stick. Alright, I don't need that, but I can put a 7 here.
That's good. I'm gonna get the 4. No good at all. You have to put a card on. Oh, a joker!
Well, Heidi gets
My
it.
turn.
She gets it.
Oh, Heidi. Ah,
She has them.
she just keeps quiet. Oh, look at that.
Oh
Oh,
no, you're not gonna go out yet.
yeah. Boy, she had a whole run here.
I took a course once from a poster maker, an old communist. He was 80 years old, and he taught me how to make posters. Not that this is so great, but he taught me about size and not too big a message. He was an artist. He was also teaching us during the Vietnam War.
Now it's two runs, one set.
Have you ever suggested what we eat tonight?
Now what we'll do, we'll get everything ready here so people can sit at the table. Hi, Bree.
Margaret, good evening.
Hi, I haven't seen you in ages, it seems.
Oh, I know, it's been months too long. And,
Wow.
and your mother's here too.
Yes,
right?
and she's coming out in a minute. Oh, you brought us some wine. Thank
I brought
you.
wine.
I'll put it over here. Let's see who's coming. Oh, here's Susan. Hi, look at this. Bearing flowers and wine. How nice. Oh, how beautiful. Hello.
And guess who this is for?
Yes.
Here's some wine for all of us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, good. I'll put some and come in.
Hi, sweetie.
Hello. How are you?
Nice to see you for a change.
Yes, I'm here for a little
Between
while.
trips.
And my mother is just having another birthday celebration.
Oh,
So come on in.
there you go.
Look, isn't that beautiful?
Beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I wanted to get you something special, and I didn't
They
know.
are special.
Okay, good.
Hi, Tree.
Good evening.
Hi. Oh, John, you came too. I'm so glad that you came. I've seen you in ages. Oh, thank you. This is the price of admission.
Nice, thanks.
My name is Sigrid Meinel. I'm 61 years old. I'm a New Year's baby. I was born on the 1st of January in 1944, and I'm a teacher here in Hampton Bays. Elementary teachers have to create a lot of materials for young children, a lot of visual materials, and I also always never have the feeling that I'm doing enough. So I spend a lot of time thinking about my ideas and how I can make them enjoyable for the children, how I can make them exciting so that they'll want to get up and come to school every day.
Let's have the poets word. Robert Creeley died yesterday, and I'd like to read his short poem, In Memoriam. People, the people. Wistful, they speak of satisfaction, love, and divers other things. It comforts, it surprises them, the old remembrances, like hands to hold them safe and warm. So must it be then some God looks truly down upon them, lies locked in you, or else lies, all lies, and no man true enough to know the difference.
Wow. That's what's happening to us.
Yes.
That's what is happening to our country.
That's the only time, the only chance for a voting process to produce change is for a third party to emerge, a viable third party that will take the power away from these entrenched interests of vested establishment forces that pose as the Republican and Democratic parties.
And by the way,
Yes.
there's going to be this rally at the Palace Theater on April 7th about the healthcare system and how Pataki is screwing us rotten. And even though he's going to get his budget in, it is just horrendous. So we'll all go to the Palace Theater from 11 to 1 on April 7th.
way we began our celebration of St. Patrick's Day.
My name is Margaret Deal. I was born in New York in 1942, but I've lived for almost 35 years in Syracuse. I'm a writer and editor by profession. First I was a teacher, and then for many years a writer and editor of foreign language textbooks and now cookbooks. I have 2 children of my own and 3 stepsons from my husband's first marriage. We have a very nice relationship with them, and 7 grandchildren now.
This one is going to be about Parmigiano Reggiano in outer space.
Ah,
I'm really
cheese
excited.
in space.
It is, but we've been talking about this for a while because we
Yes.
have that cookbook that we want
Right,
to do on
right.
the nutritional values of the cheese
Right,
and
the
its
calcium.
calcium, because that's one of the reasons why it's in outer space. And I just got word yesterday, and I am so excited
Did you?
that it really is going to be on the entire mission. Everybody's eating it. It's not just the diet
You're
of the
kidding,
cosmonauts,
really?
but all of the people who
Yeah,
are on the
yeah.
International Space Station are going to be eating Parmigiano Reggiano.
Oh, this is great.
Which is
Nancy.
great. It's the
Yeah.
it's the only food that people eat on Earth the same way as they eat in outer space.
I'm sorry, I'm late. Oh, guys, hi. I'm sorry. What are you guys doing down here?
You're helping.
Third graders. Out of here.
We want to help.
You want to help?
Yeah,
Are you going to
yeah.
be late for school?
No, we're not.
Yes, you are. You belong someplace
We
else.
like being
Well, they heard, these people are news reporters, and they heard that there's a leprechaun in Tuckahoe School.
Can I be?
Oh, clear the runway. I have to get in here.
That's Carlos. I want to help. Carlos is the leprechaun.
I think we should be very quiet.
Yeah. So we don't.
Thomas, what are you still doing here? You have to see this?
Yeah.
Don't get me in trouble.
Run for your life. Thomas is mobile that we were doing something very
Don't hurt yourself. Oh my goodness, what a mess! What a mess!
I set up my room for a visit from the leprechaun because it was St. Patrick's Day, and that's a holiday where we go to school on that day, but the children get very excited about the possibility of a fairy or a magical person coming to the classroom.
Oh, look at Olivia. What's in your desk? What's in your desk? Let's see. Ooh, say that. It might be important.
This could be evidence.
Evidence. Guys, please don't step on them. Oh, what a mess. Could somebody start cleaning this thing? See what I'm missing desk. Oh, he's been reading your journals. Look at this, Aiden. He read your journal. I can see he bent the page.
I put a lot of gold papers on the floor because the leprechaun was hunting for gold, and I knew that when the children came in the morning, they'd be very excited by a very different classroom.
I want to see this.
This country is a great country in many ways, and I have traveled quite a bit, both in Western Europe and the Third World, and I have seen the suffering of other people, and I've also read a lot about it. And I'm glad to be living here with all the benefits that American society provides, but I can't turn my back on how we are able to live this way. And I have come to the conclusion that we are able to live this way because we, and we're all culpable by exploiting the resources of the rest of the world and the labor of the rest of the world, and how we manipulate government. So I can't turn my back on that, and that interferes with my enjoying the benefits of my society. And we're struggling right now to hold on to our democracy, because while our president is talking about bringing democracy to the rest of the world, our democracy in America is eroding more and more. And I think anyway, when you have a democracy, you have to be active all the time to protect the rights that you have. And as an educator, I feel we're not doing enough to interest young people in what having a democracy involves. So I see that we have to do more in that realm. I'm not quite sure how I can do it because I work with very young children, and I teach kindness and respect and very basics, and you just hope that they'll go on and have that kind of instruction, a more sophisticated instruction about their responsibility as citizens as they're getting older.
Okay, you're gonna remember that.
Heading track.
Okay.
Can we read that?
Yes, can I have that note before? All right, let's read it again.
Oh,
Who believed in leprechaun magic, and don't we all believe in leprechaun magic? Do we?
I talked about that.
Do we?
Yeah.
He watched sharply. He watched sharply. Because you have to watch sharply to see a leprechaun.
And don't take your eye off.
Don't take your eye off it. Now the littlest of all the little men lived in a cave under the hill by Patrick's house. Did you know that?
No.
Give me your gold or I'll never let you go, he said. I haven't any gold, said the little one. I'm all miserable and hungry.
My mother has been the center of our lives. She went through so much to hold the family together. She did everything she had to do to keep us together, to get an education for us, and to make family celebrations special. She's just a darling, and she's easy to get along with. She's a model for me of sociability. I'm much more shy than she is, and she always reaches out to people and loves to have people around her, and I guess I want to be like that, so I'm still trying to be like her.
I'm the daughter of Margaret Deal and the granddaughter of Laura Meinel. And for a job, I do lots of things. I work for a documentary filmmaker. I do odd jobs in offices, and I play in a band.
Yeah, it's awesome. Is it?
Sigrid, my aunt, I think has always been a very important part of my life since I was a really young child. She's always been very involved and just a great, such an important part of my life, and always so going out of her way to do things for me and to show me things and make things nice for me. So that was when I was a kid, and that's how it is now. But as I got older, I just learned more and more of all the things that she's done in her life, and the extent, I guess, of her political involvement I've just learned so much more about it, because it's the backbone of who she is, and it's very important to her, but she's also very modest about what she's done, and I think she feels that it's something that you have to do, and it's not that I think she doesn't even think she's working so hard or she's going out of her way. To her, it's just, how could you not do anything? And she's definitely been a good role model for me.
We vigil here. We stand for peace and against the war in Iraq twice a month, once here and once up in Bridgehampton. And these are people who have been vigiling since a year before the war began. And after the war began, we decided we had to continue to be out here and to make a presence that we continue to be against this war that was brought about through lies and deception and is harming so many families, both Iraqis and Americans. And we have, there's a lot of traffic here, which we'll get more and more as we get into the spring and summer and the good weather. You have a lot of people honking and putting up the peace sign and saying that they're glad we're out here. So we continue to be out here until we can make change.
There were more Americans killed last year than the year before, where the opium production is 75% of the world's opium production, where 40 to 60% of the economy of Afghanistan is based on opium, where the elections have been postponed 3 times. The president moved the troops, so he's got 10 times the number of troops in Iraq than he has in Afghanistan, where Osama bin Laden is. Does that mean that Saddam Hussein was 10 times more important than Saddam Hussein more important than Osama bin Laden? I don't think so.
All right, sir, go ahead. It's 30 seconds. Yeah, I understand what it means to be the commander-in-chief, and if I were to ever say this is the wrong war at the wrong time at the wrong place, the troops would wonder, how can I follow this guy? You cannot lead the war on terror if you keep changing positions on the war on terror and say things like, well, this is just a grand diversion. It's not a grand diversion. This is an essential that we get it right.
In response, Senator Kerry. I believe in being strong and resolute and determined. And I will hunt down and kill the terrorists wherever they are. But we also have to be smart, Jim. And smart means not diverting your attention from the real war on terror in Afghanistan against Osama bin Laden and taking it off to Iraq, where the 9/11 Commission confirms there was no connection to 9/11 itself in Saddam Hussein, and where the reason for going to war was weapons of mass destruction, not the removal of Saddam Hussein.
I believe I'm going to win because the American people know I know how to lead. I've shown the American people I know how to lead. In Iraq, no doubt about it, it's tough. It's hard work. It's incredibly hard. You know why? Because an enemy realizes the stakes. The enemy understands a free Iraq will be a major defeat.
I couldn't believe anybody could respect him. But sure enough, he was elected, and that was an incredible education for me, because there seemed to be so much fraud taking place in Florida. And yet, our Supreme Court the final decision went to the Supreme Court, and we had a Republican president. And at least half of the country felt that this was a illegal election, and we were stuck with it because the Democrats just sat down and said, put up their hands and said, hey, we got to go with this. This is it. There's no point in fighting. So all my fighting spirit sort of collapsed.
This administration has really built their power on fears of people. And it's also, there seems to be a much more fear of illness, fear of food, fear of the environment, instead of all the positive things that could be done and are being done. And of course, our administration, I look at them, everything that would be right and good in protecting the environment, in giving people health. Well, this Bush administration seems to be on the wrong side of everything.
Yes, I'll take her down. Walk her down the aisle. Well, it's your birthday soon, huh?
Next week.
Oh.
Well, my birthday was, but the party is already next. So next Friday, I have to come in. Are you here?
Sure, of course I'm going to be here. Definitely.
Yeah.
My name is Vic Vittorio. I've been here for many, many years. I owned the shop and then sold it to someone. But I'm only working part-time because I do other things. I'm in the entertainment business, and I am a singer. And I just do this on Fridays and just come for my special customers like Mrs. Minell, which I think is a wonderful lady, and I've been doing her for about close to 20 years. And she's a wonderful person, and I enjoy doing her. Okay. She knows all of things that she tells me that I don't even know myself, that she reads in the newspaper, and we are both people that think the same in political.
That love Bush.
And, well, we're not too crazy about Bush. How old are you going to be, or you don't want to tell me?
Oh, just a little less than 100.
That is wonderful. I wish I get to be that age, but
You wish to be?
well, I would like to be if I'm in your condition, which you have everything. You have all your faculties. You're a smart woman. Do you know the restaurant you're going to?
It's a German place.
Oh, that should be nice. I've never been to Germany. I've been to Europe, but I've never been to Germany.
You missed
And-
something.
Yeah, I know. I understand it's a very beautiful country. So how old were you when you came from
18.
Germany? 18.
Not quite 18, a little less. Meine Mutter starb 1925. Und ich war die Einzige im Haus, meine 2 Brüder, mein Vater. Mein Vater hat wieder geheiratet, eine Frau, die wir nicht gerne mochten. Das klappte mit mir nicht und meine Brüder auch nicht. Und basically in der Kleinstadt, was konnte ich da machen? Damals waren die Zeiten in Deutschland sehr, sehr schlecht, weil hier in Amerika auch, aber so viele Leute sind ausgewandert nach Amerika und ich wollte eben aus Basicam raus. Und ich wusste durch einen Arbeiter von einer Familie hier in New York, die haben viele Deutsche aufgenommen. Und so dachte ich, vielleicht kann ich an die auch schreiben, ob sie mich aufnehmen würden. Ich würde genügend Geld haben, um die Fahrt zu bezahlen und auch wieder zurückzukommen, sodass sie damit wegen Unkosten und so keine Schwierigkeiten haben würden. Habe meinen, wie sagt man, Lebenslauf geschrieben und ihnen geschickt und das kam prompt eine Antwort, ich könnte kommen. Ich war Housekeeper für 2 Damen und habe da gekocht und an der vornehmen Straße Park Avenue. Und ich sagte, ich kann das doch gar nicht. Ich kann das Kochen und alles kann ich nicht. So, da war eine ungarische Köchin, die auf einem Schloss in Ungarn Köchin war. Und sie sagte, ich zeige Ihnen alles. Bleiben Sie da. Die 2 Damen sind so nett und das wird gut sein. Und ich zeige Ihnen alles, was Sie wissen müssen. It's good for the Weißschaf. Did I mess it up there?
What's that?
Did I mess it up there?
No. Well, don't do it next time. And when did you meet your husband?
6 years later.
6 years later, you met him.
Ich habe andere Freunde gehabt, aber 6 Jahre später habe ich meinen Mann kennengelernt, den ich sehr gerne mochte. Er mochte mich auch gerne, aber kam von einer anderen Klasse wie ich, etwas höher stehend. Und auch sein Chef war sein Onkel. Und dann hatte er solche Angst vor ihm, zu sagen, dass ich nicht aus diesem Kreis kam. Dann habe ich mich entschlossen, das hat keinen Zweck. Dann komme ich nie weg von ihm, wenn ich nicht immer so mit ihm nun gehe. Und er wird mich nicht heiraten. Und hier nur, das wollte ich auch nicht. Und so habe ich mich entschlossen, nach Deutschland zurückzugehen und wollte dann einige Jahre in Deutschland bleiben. Aber das... Oh, und dann hat er mir aber jede Woche ein paar Mal geschrieben, als ich in Bietigheim ein bisschen wohnte, hat er mir ein paar Mal geschrieben Und Ostern, morgens, als ich noch im Bett lag, kam ein Telegramm, willst du zurückkommen, mich heiraten? Und dann habe ich zurücktelegrafiert, einverstanden. Onkel Franz in Ulm, der sagte, es sind so viele Truppenschiebungen mit allen Soldaten, alles wird vorbereitet für den Krieg. Ich soll gehen so schnell wie möglich. Ja, das ist gut, aber du musst eine Schiffskarte haben, nicht? Ich hatte die Schiffskarte, aber das war alles voll besetzt. Na, aber durch den Chef meines Mannes habe ich eine Woche früher fahren können. Und diese eine Woche, das Schiff fuhr nach New York, hat aber leer zurückgekommen. Ohne Passagiere ging alles zurück. So, da wusste man schon. Und ich war natürlich Gott froh, dass ich ankam. Zwölf Tage war ich auf dem Schiff. Wir hatten einen furchtbaren Sturm für 2 Tage, sonst hätte es 10 Tage gedauert. Und ich bin 2. Klasse gefahren, ganz vornehm, weil mein Vater, eben weil ich allein ging, wollte nicht, dass ich 3. Klasse fahren sollte. Und er hatte das damals mir das Geld gegeben. Das war herrlich. Wir hatten Partys da, die Leute waren alle nett zu mir, haben alle gefragt, wo ich hingehe und warum und dies und das. Ein junger Mann war da, der sich sehr um mich gekümmert hat. So, auch ein Deutscher, der hierher kam. So, das war alles. Und dann, für mich war das ein ganz neues Leben. Wir hatten eine schöne Wohnung, er hatte mir alles vorbereitet, die Hochzeit war vorbereitet, aber erst wie der Krieg, dann brach ja Krieg aus und dann haben wir die Hochzeit, die große Hochzeit, wo alle unsere Freunde eingeladen waren, die hatten wir abgesagt und der Chef meines Mannes hatte nur ein Essen gegeben für unsere engsten Freunde im Waldorf Astoria, dem feinsten Hotel in New York. Das Geschäft, das ging soweit gut, aber dann, man war im Kaffeehandel mit Südamerika, Deutschland, und die haben dann zugemacht. Glaube ich, 2 Jahre später. Und das waren natürlich große Sorgen.
And you had 3 children in that time.
My parents worked, my mother helped my father, so there was a lot of things that were expected of us as children. My sister in particular, because she was the oldest, so she would start the cooking and she and I would do the cleaning on the weekend.
I had to be the mature one and help take care of Sigurd and Kali. My mother had to go off to work to help my father.
I always remember that we were like a team, and we always worked together.
My parents spoke German to each other, but it was during the war. I was born in 42, so their original plan of having us be bilingual didn't work out because we couldn't go out on the street and speak German. But I was the oldest, so my father and mother spoke German to each other, and I had it in my ear. And there were all kinds of little words, das kleine Zimmer, das kleine Lichtchen. Daddy, ich muss Pipi machen, I remember still having to say when I was very little. I remember looking out of my window, I could see Manhasset Bay, and I thought Germany was on the other side of Manhasset Bay.
I think I went through second grade in Manhasset, and then my father had to move closer to the city because his business, he had changed his work, and he had a candy factory in New Jersey.
Marzipan factory, and I would stick the leaves in the artificial leaves in the strawberries. My father set me up where I could stamp the baskets for the artificial, the marzipan fruits and do folders. So I was able to help.
Wir hatten, ich glaube, 14 Leute, das sowas für uns arbeiten. Und so ging es dann. Und dann natürlich all die Sorgen, alles.
The family held together beautifully, and we were always close and always doing things together as a family. So that made everything all right.
59 hatte einen Herzschlag bekommen. Sollte gerade zu einer großen Ausstellung für die Candy-Firma gehen.
I saw him, I remember I was in the bedroom, I saw him being pulled out on a stretcher.
He died in the night in our home, and it was devastating for all of us.
So, und dann, ich war mit 3 Kindern da.
My mother had to find strength within her to hold the family together, to sell my father's business, to go out to work on her own, and to make sure that her children continued to have the attention that we always had.
We could always count on her.
We would never really fight. I mean, we maybe fought because I didn't do something, but it was always, both of us looked at each other and to see, was hoping that we would, for the better of each other.
A model of someone who rolls with the punches.
My sister and brother and my mother and I are very close, and we are to this day. And I think that was solidified during those times because we really held on to each other and took each other into consideration for the most part and tried to work together to do everything that needed to be done so that we could continue to have this strong family life and hold on to our home that we had started with my father.
Should we go slowly?
Come around this way. Bye-bye now.
Bye. My mother grew so much in those years. That is another role model that I very much admire. And if I can be like my mother in so many ways, I would be very happy to age the way she has aged.
I realized that on Wall Street, it didn't matter if you had a college education or not. It was still one of those type of careers where you could start from the bottom and work yourself up. I started down on Wall Street at $69 a week, and but I was working with people that knew my father, and at one time 2 people knew my grandfather. So it was kind of impressive, that type of thing. So this was all new to me, and it was. And as I was doing that, I also was on my own speculating and getting involved in futures and doing things like that. And I was too young to do it legally, and my mother let me use her name, and she was always on the line, but supported me. And up until I became 21, 22 years old, she always said to me, if you think that's best, if you think this is okay, I'm with it, And so she was always very supportive of me. And then I found out certain neighbors were very involved in this sort of thing also. And it just became, that was the start of my real Wall Street career. And then a very brash, high-flying Italian guy wanted me to start a coffee operation for him, and I did, and it became very successful, and I bought a co-op in the Upper West Side, and I was living a very good life. The real estate was my income, and I misjudged. And that was when I really got into trouble. And I knew that I couldn't go back to Wall Street. Not that I had any problems down there, but the time wasn't, you have to be young down there. It's a whole different game. And so I was in a situation where I had to do anything. Right now, I am much more liberal than I ever was, but that's because I'm a working man now. Before I was never a working man. For the last year and a half, I work for Home Depot selling appliances. I only get 2 days off a week. I work weekends, and I have a good time with it. They're very nice to me. They respect age. Age has its privilege. I tell them that all the time, and I have no problem. To me, this is my end game at Home Depot. It's not a career. It's something I'm doing for the next couple of years, and then probably go part-time or something like that. And that's really the way I look at it,
You see more and more that the people who succeed are stepping all over a lot of other people. And that's almost, it's almost an ideology. Americans, we have this idea that if you don't make it, there's something wrong with you. The rugged individual, the pioneer of the Wild West days. And today, if you don't step on other people, if you don't climb and be out for yourself, then it's your fault that you didn't make a success. And success means money in this country.
Talk so much about values, and this administration, it's a very empty term, the values, and it is distressing to me how this administration manipulates public opinion, has so much influence on the media, and the media has not been, for the most part, critical enough of this administration and has allowed this administration to make outrageous claims and lie upon lie upon lie, that when you tell a lie often enough, it becomes a truth.
I'm living in a country that there's a lot of apathy, not as much of an interest about the war and about Social Security and about the unevenness of funding for education, the lack of homes, sufficient housing for all the people in America, not to speak of the rest of the world. There are so many problems in this country that people turn a blind eye to, and sometimes it's overwhelming and you just don't know where to put your efforts in. I think we have a great potential to be as free and spontaneous as the idea of America is. We weren't able to stop the war, but a number of us are continuing to vigil. It's been 2 years since the war started. We have a very small group that's out there demonstrating, but even if there are 5 or 10 of us out vigiling every 2 weeks, we feel we want to be a presence. We're not going to go away. We're going to continue trying to educate people about what is really happening.
She hates Bush.
Von ihm halte ich überhaupt nichts. Ich sage manchmal, er ist richtig blöde, aber dann mein Sohn sagt, das ist nicht wahr, der ist nicht blöd.
And hates his mother, Bush's mother, and I'll say to my mother, how can you hate her mother?
Mein Sohn ist ja Bushman.
I was always a Republican. In my heart, I'm still the Wall Street guy.
Alle Leute, die an Wall Street gearbeitet haben, an der Börse, die sind alle Republikaner. Mein Mann war auch Republikaner, der wäre nie Demokrat gewesen.
I'm a realist, okay, and I realize that things have to be paid for. And maybe I'm not happy with things, but I'm 100% American.
Ja, so.
I respect my mother. I think it's adorable that my mother gets so involved. Of course, she's a little intimidated by Sigrid, but you know, I always tell Sigrid, and I tell Margaret, whereas Margaret listens more to me than Sigrid.
I was always trying to make everything right. I think that has been my role in the family and continues to be the role today when Sigrid and Kali have their,
Sigrid somehow has a really set opinion.
I would say I grew up with that middle child syndrome of having to make a lot of racket in order to get everybody's attention.
But I will say, look, I'm proud of what you do. I mean, you want to go out and stand in the rain and protest this? I'm proud of you.
Bring them home.
Bring them home. Absolutely. Thank you.
I guess she's passing it to my mom and the younger generation and Sigrid, and they're kind of continuing that. But she's definitely the center of the family and has held it together for so long. So in that way, she's a very good role model. But she's also, I guess, the link that we have.
Carry I my shots, my dear. Da 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 Benny come, Benny vida come, vida come, carry on my shots, my dear. Thank you.
I don't know how she done it.
Did you set it anywhere?
Carl, come on.
All right.
This is you too.
Hi.
Zwei.
Hi, Carl.
What are we doing now?
Well, how about lunch?